beautiful collectors and action figure fans. Once again, it's the one and only Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Playmates Toys Classic Star Trek movie series celebrating 40 years of Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan, James T. Kirk. Now, before we get into the review, I just want to send a huge thank you to all of you who have been watching my channel for so many years. This past October, I actually went over my 15-year anniversary here on YouTube, which completely blows my mind. And you guys have shown support all that time, and it really truly means a lot. I know I'm not as popular as I probably once was. A lot of reviewers have come and gone, and there's a lot of new popular ones. Ones that are doing something that I did way back in 2009, and that's getting figures early. And while I do that from time to time, it's not something that I'm able to do consistently now. Just the way that YouTube has changed really has affected that, and it means that I have to review figures later on after a lot of other people. But many of you still come by my channel to get my opinion, and that truly means a lot to me. And while I know this is not a Transformer review, and I know it will not get a ton of views either, there are some of you that still, no matter what, support the channel by watching videos like this. And that also means a lot to me. So this was just me wanting to talk to you guys and say thank you. For the past 15 years, you have really made my dreams come true. And no matter what happens, I have a love and passion for showing off these really cool action figures. Whether it be Star Trek, Transformers, Ninja Turtles, Masters of the Universe, or so many other ones that I look at, that I will always be doing these reviews as long as there's still some people that watch. So again, thank you so much. But as I said, we're going to be taking a look at the new Star Trek movie series with James Tiberius Kirk. And again, much like what they did with the Next Generation line, they're recreating some original vintage figures in the new modern kind of look with the added articulation, all that kind of stuff. And I really like that. You can see you got this nice open window that fully, or blister card I should say, that fully showcases the figure. The package is a little bit smaller than what Playmates used to give to us. This is typically what they used to give us in terms of the card. So you can see there is a size difference, but it still has that very original vintage retro feel. You see, you got the absolutely gorgeous Enterprise flying around there in the background. It does say that it's the NCC 1701, which is nice because in the Wrath of Khan, it was still that NCC 1701. However, you can see that this is the original series one. It's not that refitted version that we got in the motion picture, Wrath of Khan, and even the majority of the Search for Spock, when that retro Constitution class was destroyed and then replaced by the Enterprise A. But I still like how that kind of homages that this is the original series cast. Of course, you got his name right down here, come around the back of the package. You got the other figures from Wrath of Khan that are available. Hopefully we will get more, but that's what we have so far. And then you got a rundown of his accessories, including his Star Trek Risk Communicator, his Captain's Log, a Type 2 phaser, and of course his display base. Then you get a little bit of a read-up right here, and then of course you get the little Q code, which if you want to scan that, you can do that. And it's really cool. It actually takes you to a website that is done up like the LCAR's kind of computer system in Star Trek and kind of replicates their database. I think it's really cool. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have the new Admiral James T. Kirk open up and out of its packaging. And you know, I'm really happy with how this figure turned out. The Next Generation ones were really well done. And I was certainly curious to see if that level of detail and enjoyment that I had for him carried on with these original series movie figures. And I'm very happy to say that it does. Starting off first, he does come with this display stand. Again, very much like what we got with the Next Generation ones. I do really wish that this button that connects to the hole on his feet was a little bit more down here. I think that if you put it there, it would make it a little bit easier to kind of stand him more center on that. As you can see, that's basically how that would turn out. As it is, this kind of, well, where's the hole? There we go. Put that there. Kind of makes it where you kind of have to go like that, and that just looks like he's surfing on there because it's not very centered to him. And I don't like his foot kind of hanging off, and then if you just bring it in there, it just, I mean, I guess that's okay, but it kind of looks like his legs are kind of bowing inwards. So again, I think that a better solution for where this is placed would be a little bit further down. That would be one of my kind of critiques if they were listening and watching my videos and wanted to improve things. That definitely, I think, could. He also does come with this wrist communicator. Now, I don't ever remember him using a wrist communicator in the movie. I know Khan had one, but this really, I don't know honestly how I feel about that. It does have this little clip piece here that goes around his wrist, and you can see sculpt detail looks pretty decent. It's just molded in this gray plastic, which is perfectly fine. Honestly, I'm not going to use this for anything, but there's that. He also does come with the captain's log, which all it is this. No detail really on there. And then this, I'm assuming, is the back, because it kind of makes it so it, oh, I'm dropping it. It kind of like has a ramp of sorts on there. You can see it tapers down towards the bottom. That's kind of plain, realistically. And a lot of these accessories he can't hold very well. The way that his hand is, it doesn't really help much. Again, maybe this one is a little bit better. Because that's a little bit better on that side, just because the grip on his hand, you can see, is a little bit more narrow on this one than it is on that one. So I guess maybe he's meant to hold it in this, just kind of shifting that down there, and even still you can see that it doesn't hold in all that well. You can't really have to wedge that in there to get him to hold it. And then I guess you can use this phaser. He comes with a Type 2 phaser. Again, it's just done in this gray plastic, nothing overly spectacular. But this, again, kind of sits very loosely in there. And I've already knocked that off. So he doesn't really hold his accessories all that well, to be honest. And again, you kind of have to wedge that all the way up there where you get the little bit thicker of the piece. So you can definitely do that if you wanted to. But I kind of like having the phaser in this hand a little bit more. Now, as you can see, one of the drawbacks of the way that the phaser in the hand is, he really needs to bring this up like that to kind of fire straight. If he just extends his arm out, I mean, he has to lift it a whole lot more, just because you can see that the angle of the wrist doesn't really sit naturally to a phaser holding sort of thing. But there he is. There's the up close on him. Hopefully you guys can see that. I want to get in as close as I possibly can where you can see the details. Now, face sculpt wise, I don't think it looks bad. I think that he's lacking a lot of detail in there that's really going to help to kind of, hopefully it stays focused on there. But it looks very soft. There's not a lot of texture on that. And I think that's one of the aspects about those original Next Generation ones that kind of made the sculpt look a little bit soft. The best way I can describe it is it kind of looks like that selfie series thing that Hasbro's doing. Come on, focus, guys. You can do it. That's a little bit better. It looks decent. Maybe. I mean, it's focusing on my hand pretty good, so why won't it focus on I mean, like, you can see the wrinkles on my fingers, but you can't see the wrinkles on his face. So what's going on? I don't think it looks terrible. I honestly don't. I just, again, think it looks a little bit soft. One thing that I love, though, outside of that, is the attention to detail in the costume here. Now, in the Wrath of Khan, he had a gold section here and a black section. You can see they recreated that very nicely. Also, right up here is his Admiral insignia. You also have that right down here as well. But one thing that I really did not expect is, oh, there we go. Now it wants to focus. And, well, all right, there's his face. This down here, one thing that I absolutely love is the slashes here and the pips. That's something that was actually in the film and on the costume. You can see that he's got a total of 3 dots or pips. Those represent the 30 years of service to Starfleet that he has. and then you can see 4 individual slashes. Those all represent different commendations that he's gotten. And I love that. You know, something like that is a real impressive attention to detail. Now, he also does have this little top band right here, which originally was in the movie, but they never really explained what it meant, and then that kind of went away. So again, it's nice that they include that. You can even also see the molded in differences with the cuff section here. So you got that little bit right down here. You have that as well there. That's really cool to see. You got the beautiful belt. There's a few sloppy paint applications on it, like on the side there. Doesn't bother me all that much. Of course, he's got the insignia badge right up there. So overall, the attention to detail on this is really quite impressive, and he's a basically $12 to $15 figure depending on where you get him at. I got mine actually in store, so I think he was like $12.99 or something. So that really impresses me. Even when you come around the back, you can see you got the little strap section that comes over as well. Really very, very nice. As I talked about, his hands are sculpted in a way where one is a little bit more open than the other, so you got that one there as opposed to that one. They're very close, but slightly different. And then you come down to the pants, and you can see that he does have that red stripe that goes down, and then the little extra poofiness of the pants. Really extremely well detailed. The only thing that I really think that they could benefit, and like I said, the sculpt on the face is pretty solid. I think it's there. It's just missing a lot of that textural detail and kind of flesh tone to it. It just looks very pale, I guess. And all the other ones did as well. Data was a little bit better because his, I guess, skin tone wasn't really necessary to be closer to like this, because it was mostly that whitish color. So it's not very noticeable, but I think that some paint applications on here, maybe some texture, would really help out a lot. For the articulation, the head is, it feels like it's on a ball joint, but it's not really getting a lot of range of motion with it. You can see it gets a little bit of play, so it's mostly just left to right. The shoulders move in and out. They move almost a little past 90 degrees. They rotate all the way around. Bends at the elbow, also rotates at the elbow. The wrists rotate. There's no forward and back at the wrist, unfortunately. There's also no waist articulation, which I feel like they could have done right at the belt section, but they didn't. Hips do move forward and back. Those appear to be on ball joints. They're a little bit looser. So, I mean, I might be able to tighten that up because, they are just ball joints. But then you come down to the knee, and what's going on with this knee? What's happening? There we go. Oh, that was just a little bit stuck. So, that bends, also rotates. Both of those do it. You can get them go like that if you really want to. And then come down to the ankles. Those move forward and back, and those also rotate. So, pretty decent amount of articulation in a 5-inch or so figure. Very happy with him. Very, very happy. This is one of my favorite costumes from Star Trek, so I love that attention to detail all the way around. If you're a Star Trek fan, these are definitely ones that I would add to your collection. They look really good. The accessories, while can be weird, for example, like the wrist communicator, and then the captain's log, which doesn't really look like much of anything, but honestly, just having them stand there as James T. Kirk is perfectly fine. What I'm really curious about is if they reuse the body. In this wave, they have Spock, which we'll be taking a look at later. And I'm going to do a comparison because I really want to see if they changed up things like the insignia and then the different commendations that the two have gotten. But there you go, guys. There's my look at the new Playmates Toys Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan 40th Anniversary Retro Admiral James T. Kirk. As I said, I did pick mine up at a Target store, so you may be able to find them there. Or as always, you can go online to places like Big Bad Toy Store, Amazon, or even Entertainment Earth. For all of those, I'll put links right down there in the video description, where you can head on over to those places and check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the wide range of Star Trek figures. But once again, I want to thank you all for tuning in and watching. And please remember that the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you all so much for watching and taking the time to be a kid.